Hi, Dr. Dave Healey here, chiropractor at Upper Oakville Chiropractic in Oakville. I just want to tell you how Dr. Tom Preston and his team have helped me to sell my practice. And just this past year, after 40 years in practice, I realized it was time to transition out, cut back. And so, I mean, the first thing that we needed to do was get a good solid value for the practice. And I've sold a couple of practices before and bought a practice. So in those situations, we use a kind of a rough estimate based on a percentage of a year's gross or the average of 3 years gross. But in this market, I felt that we needed kind of, let's say, a more professional valuation, a more detailed valuation. So we called upon Tom and his team, and he's got an amazing process, very, very detailed and very thorough. Came up with a valuation based upon all the stats and basically the reproducible net profit, and then adjusted upward by factors for goodwill. And in their process, they have like about 20 different factors that can influence the value of the goodwill. So it comes out to be a pretty accurate valuation that's going to be, it's useful for me in negotiations, and it's useful for a potential purchaser to take for financing too. So we did that process last September, and then I was going to go ahead and just like try to market my practice myself. And then I realized, well, I know a lot of people in the profession, but obviously Tom knows a whole lot more. He's got a lot wider reach. So I asked Tom for help, and then he assigned me to his part of his team, Mike and Rick Thielmans, to do the legwork on this. And Mike's kind of like the liaison and the numbers guy. And Rick does the kind of internet stuff. But basically, my first question for them was like, how do you charge? Like, what's the process? And this is one of the things that attracted me to their process, is that it's very open-ended. They've sold other practices before, like using a set fee, a block fee, or percentage, etc. But they've come upon a new process where you give an initial deposit, and they set up a Facebook page for you, a landing page, and then basically you pay for the hours, the input into helping you. And so it's very flexible. You can still go ahead and market on your own, make your own contacts. If you find the buyer, fine, doesn't put their nose out of joint or anything. And so they put together the web page. And one thing I liked about that too, on the web page, if a chiro wants to get the valuation, get the stats, etc., they click on, and then they're requested to download a non-disclosure agreement. Read that, sign it, agree to it, and then send that back in before any info is sent out. So there's privacy involved. And also, I didn't have to field a lot of calls and screen out the tire kickers, you might call them. So, they were looking for serious prospects. And so within a month or so, we had about 18 leads. And I had either by phone or in-person interviews with 3 interested chiros. And now we're negotiating with one in a serious way. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a firm deal worked out in the new year. And so those are the major things. I think it's just like a really professional approach, has a lot of credibility. And if you're in the position that you want to market your practice, they're a great team to have you help you do that. So I highly recommend Dr. Tom Preston and the team at Full Circle Coaching and Consulting.